Recording from Undercity Comics in Uptown Whittier, this is the Waffle Press Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Waffle Press Movie Podcast. I am your host, Diego Crespo. With me today, I have two very, very special guests along with our regular panel of fantastically nerdy cohorts.
See, Kirk, I told you we're not special anymore.
No, God, no. I don't even... Who are you? Renee, what's this guy doing here?
Oh, no, you invited him.
Okay, I did. I don't know. It looks kind of like a homeless person.
Hey, man, I get a paycheck, so it's fine.
So this is Gina Versa.
Nicholas Valero.
Kirk.
Renee.
And with us we have today is Rob Meyer Burnett from Collier Movie Heroes and director of Free Enterprise, and Joshua Melville, author and screenwriter and sci-fi fan. And thank you guys for joining us. I met you guys at Comic-Con this year, and that was my first time going, and you made it one of the best. So thank you for joining us, guys.
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having. It was my first Comic-Con also, and I was only there because Rob made me go.
Yeah, I'm hard on Josh. I don't have him trussed up in a bunch of BDSM wear. I let him out of the house.
Right.
Yeah. Said we weren't going to talk about that.
Yeah, it's true.
It's okay.
I let his wife do that. I'm kidding.
But how you guys doing?
Doing good. Basking in the glow of seeing another new Star Wars film on the big screen, which is always a good thing.
Basking.
Yeah. Did you guys? How many times have you seen it so far?
I've only seen it once because I had my kids with me, and I plan to see it again next week.
Cool. Yeah, I've only seen it once, basically because all the screens I would see it on are sold out through the weekend. Although I saw it at 2:00 this morning.
Oh, wow.
But I didn't.
Wow.
Okay.
Wait, yeah, I know on opening night, my brother went at 5 a.m.
Jeez.
Just so that we can go see it. And apparently that was like the only open showing that he wanted to go see the movie theater at. So.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Me and Diego here have seen it twice already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I know.
It's better the second time.
Yeah, I think so. And quick shout out to Real Film Chatter for hooking us up with those early tickets.
Right.
Thank you, Patrick. Sorry, can't be there to help you move today.
Right. So cool. Yeah, everyone, we all loved Rogue One. I'm sure you guys did.
Did we? Wait, hang on.
Okay.
I haven't asked everyone at the panel over here if they liked Rogue One.
It's fucking garbage, dude. It was terrible.
Okay, so I was talking to you about it yesterday. I know you're lying now.
No, I love that movie, dude. That movie was awesome. Best 15 minutes of like Star Wars.
Yeah.
At the very end.
Yeah.
Like the best 15 minutes.
Right.
That's a bold statement, but we could talk about that later.
Kirk, did you have any thoughts on it?
It was a tragedy, literally, because of what happened. No.
Yeah.
And we'll do our full reactions later in the episode. But Rob, Josh, did you get? What are your quick thoughts on it?
I give it a solid B.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that as it tickled all the Star Wars funny bones. I think I'll give it an A for Star Wars fan service and giving iconography that we want. But as a movie, I'll give it a B because I felt that it had very thin characterizations, and I had a lot of problems with the meandering nature of the first half of the film.
Right.
And I thought that.
Cut out.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Hold up for 1 sec.
Fix it in post.
Rob, are you still there?
Yeah. Did I fall out?
Yeah, you fell
Yeah.
out. That's okay.
Yeah, we'll edit this.
Fix it in post.
If you want to just come back from your last thought you had there.
Well, I don't know what you heard.
Which one? Miranda.
I would say this. I would say that I thought that the film as a Star Wars film, it was definitely an A as far as iconography and fan service goes. But as a movie, it's a B because I thought the characterizations were thin, and the men on the mission aspect of the film was a bit lacking, especially considering that such a plot is a long-standing staple of Hollywood cinema, and it's been done much better in other films that could have been a template to look at for the screenwriters. But the film was made by committee.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure, they had a lot of mandates.
I gave it an A-.
Okay.
I think there were some definite, from a story point of view, there were some definite structural problems, especially in the beginning, but it made up for them in the end. And with such a fantastic climax and a jaw-dropping last shot, I found myself willing to forgive some of its flaws.
Okay. Cool.
That's fair. And later in the episode, when we all talk about it, that will be spoiler reactions across the board.
Yeah.
And we'll note when we're going to get into that for everyone listening.
We will talk spoilers later.
Just saying, if you read Catalyst, that movie is awesome.
Okay, but that's
cool.
See, I'm a fan, but you shouldn't have to read anything else when you're watching a movie. That should be like cool supplements, but it shouldn't be mandatory.
Yeah. Okay, and just intro here. We're just wanted to talk our first Star Wars memory. Just wondering, first, Star Wars, there's no one person I have, met that doesn't like Star Wars, and it's, cultural cornerstone for everyone. So it's just wondering if you guys want to start first, your first Star Wars film memory.
Well, I unfriended everybody who doesn't like Star Wars. So
Rightfully so.
My first Star Wars memory, although I know for certain I had seen other movies several times before, like The Godfather, which came out before Star Wars. Star Wars is the first movie I can remember waiting in line for a theater to see a second time. It's the first movie I can recall where I actually went back, stood in line, in New York cold, and waited to see a second time. So it would always live in my heart as the first movie I saw twice.
Very cool. Rob?
Well, I was a complete science fiction film fanatic when Star Wars came out. I was 10. I was already a Star Trek fan. I knew all the names of the original Star Trek episodes. I loved The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits. And we had Sci-Fi Theater on Sundays in Seattle where I grew up. So my favorite movie at that time, I had two. One was the original War of the Worlds, and the other was Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes. And a year before Star Wars, I had begged my mom to take me to see Logan's Run, which I also loved.
Great film.
So I couldn't wait to see Star Wars, and my father took me on the Saturday that it had opened. And when we got there was a huge line around the block, which I'd never seen that before in my life. And there was no way we were going to get in. The line was gigantic. And I was perplexed and deeply saddened, and I was crying because I figured this was my movie. Why are these other people here? And so my dad took me to see, as a consolation prize, a double feature of Race with the Devil and The Car, which was all about the devil and Satan worshipers, and it was great. And I was very, very excited about that. And then the next morning, I went with our neighbors, Chambers, Mr. and Mrs. Chambers, and Peter, my schoolmate. We all went, and I made them go 2.5 hours early so we wouldn't miss it. And even then, we were halfway down this enormous line. And I saw the film 13 times in the theater from May to September.
Wow.
Of 77.
Gee, that's a good track record. Yeah. I think my first Star Wars memory, I remember the first Star Wars film I saw was actually the last. It was Return of the Jedi.
You must have been so confused.
I know, right? It was the last one, but I just I just rolled with it, and like I didn't have any questions. Like I just knew Yoda's supposed to be wise, Luke is supposed to be like the hero, and it was on old VHS. This was in the 90s, and I think I had like an X-wing, and I just used to reenact it all the time. And I think it was when Lucas redid. It was the first re-edit he did, the special edition. So that was probably my first. Diego?
Yeah, I think the special edition VHS were my thing too.
Okay.
So for the longest time, the Jabba's Palace stuff in Return of the Jedi, really stuck with me because I was like, this is a good movie, but this is weird with the cartoon computer aliens. Yeah, VHS with my mom and dad when I was really young.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kurt?
I remember going to my uncle's house, and he gave me this box. It was a nice, solid rectangle, and it had this menacing figure on the front, just the head.
It was Darth Maul, wasn't it?
It was Darth Vader. And it was some sort of limited edition box set of the first 3 episodes, but the real first 3, the 4, 5, and 6. And so I'm like, oh, what is this? This looks awesome. And so I watched A New Hope on VHS and loved it. Had to have a Lego X-Wing shortly after. So these movies had been out for so long that Legos were already there. And then I know that the prequels came out a little bit after that, and I was super excited to see them. And I was a kid, so, whatever was bad about them just went straight over my head because, kid, Star Wars, lightsabers.
Gotcha. Nick?
Hey man, now this is pod racing. No, but I do remember. I think mine was in the mid '90s. I may have been like 4 or 5, and that was when the first trilogy was re-released in movie theaters. I remember my dad took me. It was like 1995, 1996. I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I remember my dad showing me that movie. And because of the small edits, he then took me home and then sat me down for his box set, which was the original versions of them. And I think I sat there for about 9 hours. Because he was like, "Oh, we're finishing this today."
Not the best 9 hours spent.
Yeah, and like I remember like my dad watching me write Empire and just kind of like going like, "I can't wait to see his face." And when he finds out Vader's his dad, oh, I can't wait to fucking see this. Yeah. And as soon as I did it, I was like, "Oh my god, is that true?" And my dad's like, "I don't know, maybe he's lying."
Definitely. And then just going right into it, favorite Star Wars movie, guys?
Dude, come on.
Empire.
Episode 1.
I'm going to go with Empire, too. I know it's the popular decision, but you cannot beat Empire.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great movie, but I think just like the one I have most fun watching is Return of the Jedi. I mean, there are definitely issues with that one.
To be totally honest, the Jedi is my favorite too.
I mean, because like really quick, so I don't get on a huge tangent, but I just think it's so fun to like watch these characters. They've been through so much together. Like this little banter between Han and Luke, like when they first meet up after he's broken out of the carbonite, and he's like, "Oh, how we doing? Usual. Oh, that bad, huh?" Like it's just those little moments that really make it sing to me.
Yeah. It's kind of like
Same as always.
Yeah, it's just another Tuesday in the galaxy.
Yeah.
I think Jedi is really fun. Some of the best things is especially when like you have R2-D2 and different stuff. So I mean, I really enjoy Jedi.
Kurt?
I don't have a favorite. I just really love Star Wars, and I haven't seen each one 20 times.
That's
so
a cop out.
Everybody has a favorite.
Look, I'm here as the everyday man.
Right.
I rate movies on whether I enjoyed them or not. That's as far as I'll go. So
that's fair.
Cool. So just getting away from Star Wars just for a quick second.
How dare you?
Really quick, we're just going to go over some movie news that happened this week. Just our thoughts on it. So first off, the first Spider-Man Homecoming trailer came out and it looked awesome.
Yeah, it looked real good. It looks like everything I want out of a Spider-Man story. Mm-hmm. They really need to nail home that his life is terrible.
Okay.
Peter Parker's life is terrible, and he needs to be poor as hell. Like I like that they moved him down from a fancy suburban home to an apartment building.
Right.
that was such a nice apartment, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay, true, but it's a movie. I mean, like Friends, they're not going to be able to afford that. But yeah, no, I liked it a lot.
Queens, come on.
That's how.
And Michael Keaton as the Vulture looks like he just has that one line, but he looks cool.
Yeah.
You think he'll be as badass as Beetlejuice? That's the big one.
Guys, what did any thoughts on that?
On Spider-Man?
Yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming.
I think that anyone who's watched Collider Heroes knows that I'm a huge fan of Kevin Feige.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that they finally made Spider-Man the way he should have been made from the beginning, which is you cast a kid who looks like he's in high school.
Yeah.
And, you play it up that way. The fact that he has no father, so Tony Stark is his mentor. Uh-huh. I love that idea.
And
I love the fact that he's going to have real world kid problems in addition to being a superhero, because he's still, after all, a teenager.
Right.
And that's what always made the comics so much fun to read, because it was that perfect balance between well, if you were a superhero, but you still had to, do well on your finals, how would that work?
Yeah, definitely.
About acne.
And he seems like an actual nerd. The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, he was a bit too much of a cool guy. We're seeing this. Tom Holland, really play up. He has like the web shooters. He has like all the Spider-Man gadgets. So like,
no, but Josh brings up a good point. Acne. He needs that's a lot of stress. Puberty, high school, and you're a superhero. Oh, that kid's gonna break out every day.
He has regeneration powers. Come on.
Oh yeah, that cancels out the acne. You're right.
Cancels out acne. Come on.
Yeah.
Use your head.
So yeah, no, it looked awesome.
I actually really do like the idea that for once he's not going to just have like a father figure. He'll actually have like a teacher,
right?
Who's kind of teaching him how to be a superhero.
Yeah. And as in tradition of Spider-Man, it needs to go horribly, horribly wrong somehow.
What are you saying? Tony Stark dies at the end?
No, I mean like maybe in Infinity Wars he dies or something. Because
they did with.
Sorry. Sorry, what was that?
Oh well, Josh just made an interesting point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the father figure in the comics was always kind of Norman Osborn, which is ironic because Osborn turns out to be his ultimate nemesis. It gets very Oedipal. And Rob said they didn't really handle that well in the movies, and I agreed. They didn't really. And the movies tend to like flatten everything. They take all the bullet points and they make it into a 2-hour movie, and they try to compress 100 issues of Spider-Man into one 90-minute movie.
Yeah,
I mean they did with Alfred Molina in Spider-Man 2 when he played Otto Octavius, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2. They did a pretty good job of that. They did a pretty good job of the mentor-student relationship. You actually had scenes where you would see Octavius and Peter Parker in a normal environment having dinner together or something, and they had a relationship. But I like the idea that what Marvel has done so well, especially in the latter half of their films, is, as Kevin Feige has said, they're going to take movies and they'll do like a 70s conspiracy thriller, which is what Winter Soldier was. Or they'll do a heist movie, which is what Ant-Man is. And they have mentioned, Kevin Feige has mentioned that Spider-Man Homecoming is a John Hughes movie.
Yeah.
Set in a superhero context, which I think is a great idea. Because so often people believe that that comic book films are limited by their source material, that just because they're a comic book, they have to be a certain way. And every reader of comic books knows that isn't true.
Yeah.
And I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done a very good job of taking the 4-color fantasies that we read as children and transposing them into a cinematic reality that everybody is captivated by, especially judging by their success. I mean, look at Doctor Strange. It's basically a psychedelic Carlos Castaneda, expanding your mind, magical realism, whatever.
And
it worked. People loved it.
Yeah, and Marvel just cannot do anything wrong at this point. That's what they've shown us. So it looks great. I'm really excited. I guess that brings us to the next trailer that came out, War of the Planet of the Apes. And I'm really, excited for this. Big Planet of the Apes fan. It's, they're going into like really uncharted territory. This is like maybe the first ape movie where it's not sort of has any source material. Like Dawn was, based off of, I think it was War of the, was the Planet of the Apes movie, but it was based on this. This is something we've never seen in apes. What everyone think?
I predict pain at the box office.
Okay.
My kids watched the trailer and said, "Didn't we see this movie last time?" That is, to me, is the kiss of death.
Oh no.
There is actually source material on this. It's Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
And I as an ape fan myself, I'm a little disappointed that we're returning to the apes are going to battle humans thing.
Yeah.
It's very typical. Hollywood just needs to make lots and lots of battle movies. I guess because they already have the algorithms in their computer and it's just easier. But it sure would be nice if they actually had something a little more cerebral, since the Planet of the Apes, what made the original movie, and even Escape, the third movie, they were more cerebral. They were about the relationships between people, and they used apes as a metaphor for racism. The new movies, they don't really do that. It's just a lot of CGI.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be a little disappointed with this, and I predict pain at the box office.
Well, I mean, I have a little different take, I think, in that I really enjoyed the first Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I thought was really, really good.
Mhm.
And Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I enjoyed. But my real problem with this film is it all seems to be set in and around the San Francisco area.
Yeah.
And the movie is called Planet of the Apes, and I want to know what is happening. I mean, obviously, it'd be a little more difficult to tell on a global scale how to do something like that. But the film seems to be only giving us a sliver of what's going on. I want to know what's happening in the rest of the world. Like, is Europe having the same problem, or have they made peace with their evolved apes?
Yeah.
Are there evolved apes in Europe? Like, I don't know. What about China? Have the Chinese figured out to reverse their diseases? I mean, I don't know. And the films Rise worked really, really well because, like a movie like 12 Monkeys, you're unleashed. But I don't know. I mean, I'll wait and see. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
The one thing I was kind of hoping from this new Planet of the Apes movie is I wouldn't have minded if there was like a resistance. If like the apes had already kind of taken over, and like this is the last of like the allied human forces to kind of like make a final push.
Right.
And stuff like that. And they're like trying to free humans from slavery, and they're trying to do everything like that. That'd be really cool. Like kind of like apes becoming the brand new norm. That would have been really cool to kind of see. And it would have led really cool into like the final Planet of the Apes, where it's just like you're getting further and further. I think we've already kind of seen this like whole battle play out and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's my only issue.
I'll be happy if they can figure out a way to get the Icarus back into the movie. If they can get that back in the movie, it will redeem itself for the fact that it's just this continuation of the previous movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't like the trailer. I thought the trailer had showed too much.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because you can kind of piece some of the like things together where you're basically going, yeah, the apes win. Like, especially.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's the Planet of the Apes.
But like the scene where you see Caesar and them, and they're walking through like a warehouse, and they have like shotguns, and they turn the corner, and then you see Woody Harrelson's character, and he just has like there's a pull of whiskey that's already like laid out, and like there's like shells everywhere, and he's holding a picture of his son. And he just like throws it down. It's kind of like, oh, so that's the end of the movie. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I don't even remember that little bit from the trailer.
Really? That's in the trailer, yeah.
Come by me. But talking about surprises in the movie, as we wrap up the segment, I guess they're not done with the virus aspect of the Planet of the Apes reboots. I guess someone mentioned in an interview that the virus is evolving, and then that's going to incorporate some familiar mythology from the Planet of the Apes movies. Apparently,
yeah, we'll see.
Fingers crossed for mind-reading underground mutants.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Hopefully.
Or mutant humans with no way to speak.
Yes,
they do. It's mind control or telepathy. I mean.
Yeah.
And speaking of mind control, it kind of looks like Fate of the Furious. Vin Diesel is evil now.
Okay, so he's either a robot, or he's being mind controlled, or a clone, and I don't care. I'm all in.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
Fate of the Furious is a movie that the Fast and the Furious series has always kind of gone like, what have we not done yet?
Yeah.
And to kind of go like, oh, what are we gonna do this time? Why don't we make Dom a villain?
Oh.
Like that's kind of genius, and I really can't wait to kind of see what exactly is going to happen. I know that some way, somehow, he's being blackmailed, and that's the reason why he's doing it, and otherwise he'd just be out of character and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be really interesting to see.
Any thoughts, guys?
Well,
I stopped watching Vin Diesel after Boiler Room, so
That's a good place to stop, though.
I am a huge fan of this series. I've loved it since the beginning, and I'm a huge fan of Tokyo Drift. And I think Fast 5 is genius.
Yeah.
I did not like the last one very much. I thought, believe it or not, I thought it was too silly, and it wasn't as grounded as the other films, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
They
defy
and
gravity.
As soon as I, in this movie though, I'm really looking forward to it because clearly Vin Diesel is doing what he's doing for ultimately a good reason. He wouldn't sell out his friends. And I want to find out what exactly that reason is. I would imagine it might have something to do with the safety of Paul Walker and his family, because
Okay.
Paul Walker is obviously can't be in the film.
Right.
But as soon as I saw a Russian submarine smash through the ice, a la Ice Station Zebra, I'm like, I can't wait to see this movie. And Charlize Theron's the villainess, so what's not to love?
Yeah, we'll have to see and see the reason. Like I think it's something. Yeah, I agree. It could be something with Paul Walker's family.
I think the only thing that was kind of bothering me in the entire trailer was they were like, oh, and Jason Statham's joining the group.
Yeah,
he murdered your friend. Now he gets to join you
but
guys.
see, that's even like it's a classic hero villain matchup thing. Where it's like, oh yeah, this guy that you can never trust ever. Now you got to team up with him for the greater good.
Yeah,
but also you can still not trust him ever.
Right.
Watch at the very end, you're gonna find out that they make a friendship and like he joins the crew.
No,
forever.
see that would be
He
killed Han. He killed Han. The Han Solo of the Fast and Furious franchise. So
cool. Yeah. So just going off movie news, we're going to next segment. Pitch a movie. It's an activity we do. And usually we have our guest. We'll give them suggestions, and we'll be the studio heads. Gents, we're going to have you pitch a Star Wars movie for us, and we're going to give you one suggestion each. We'll throw anything out there. So, how you guys feeling about it?
It's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be fun.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I can't wait for this.
All right, Gene, go ahead and give them the first suggestion.
Okay. What is it? It has to have.
I swear to God, you see giant spider.
All right. Has to be a heist film. Star Wars heist film. I think that's the genre I want to go to.
A heist film.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. I will say that it has to be directed by. Let's go Michael Bay.
Jesus.
Let's go Michael Bay on this one.
Okay.
Me? I'd like to see.
Are we supposed to then pitch that?
Oh
Yeah.
no. We're gonna cut away. We're gonna go back to this later in the podcast.
So that way you guys have at least
Yeah.
maybe 30 minutes to kind of think of it.
just
So we
to.
get to work on kind of off mic. Is that how this works? We're gonna
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're gonna give you so.
And so the only parameters is the director, and that's a heist movie.
Director's heist movie
Well,
and one more.
Essentially, they're adding more on. So at the very end, we'll go ahead and come back, and then as long as you have all of the parameters inside of it, we should be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
So I need to see a Jedi temple with Jedis occupying it.
how the fuck? When
That is
when does this
very-
movie take place?
Super prequel.
And
Oh, I actually have an idea on how to do
The
it.
Old
Okay.
Republic.
Well, don't give it away for
I have an
them.
idea on how to do it.
Okay, and it has to star Tessa Thompson.
all right. From Creed.
Okay.
And Thor Ragnarok.
And
And-
yes.
Thor Ragnarok.
Thor
of course.
Ragnarok
She's
and
Valkyrie.
which Westworld as well.
Yep.
Yeah, she is in Westworld. Great show. Cool. So yeah, guys, you'll have
Till the end of the show.
till the end of the show to pitch that. We'll go back to that. Right now, we're going to cut away to an interview I did at Long Beach Comic Con with Chris Strompolos. He was the star of Raiders, the story of the greatest fan film ever told. It's a really good documentary on Netflix, and we're going to cut away to that. So hope you enjoy. Hi, this is Gina Versa. I'm at Long Beach Comic Con with the Waffle Press podcast, and I'm here with Chris Strompolos, the star and co-producer of Raiders, the fan film, and it was a. Chris, how would you describe the film?
It's a shot-for-shot remake of the classic Spielberg movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's accompanied by Raiders, the story of the greatest fan film, which is a documentary produced and directed by Jeremy Kuhn and Tim Skousen, released in June by Draft House Films. And we have a book out by Alan Eisenstock, and that's the story.
It's also on Netflix, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. It just launched on Netflix a couple of days ago.
So Chris, I love the documentary. I love the book. How cool is it to have, people like fans of Raiders and everyone know about this kind of secret fan film that Eli Roth found in someone's videotape collection, and it exploded. Everyone started spreading around. How does that feel?
Well, Eli got the copy from an old roommate of Eric's, and that was sort of that's how he got a hold of it. But yes, it was an old beaten VHS tape. I think it's sort of we never thought that it would get as far as it has. It's very flattering and very inspiring for us to have other people who are Indiana Jones fans and Raiders fans to approach us and let us know how our movie has inspired them in return, and so it's nice to have that sort of fan recognition. It's cool.
Right. Is it like weird, fans knowing your life story, or?
Well, that's a decision that you make when you start to tell your story. I mean, when the book was being done and the documentary was being done, you can't tell a story about yourself unless you're honest, and I think that's where a lot of people take a wrong turn. They want it all they want to gloss it over with rainbows and sweetness and leave out all the stuff that makes us human. And I think that is, along with the spine of the story, which is the friendship between Eric and I, all the dark and gritty stuff that makes us people.
Right.
It resonates, and I think that has a universal quality to it.
And we're back. Moving on to the next segment of the Waffle Press podcast, our Star Wars special episode with guests Rob Meyer Burnett and Joshua Melville. And now our next section is a Star Wars Fancast.
Give the audience 10 minutes to think about it. And 2 minutes.
And so for this section, we're going to fancast who we would like to see work on a Star Wars movie, be it a director, actor, even musical composer. So, Gene, you and I discussed this multiple times before. I know you've got one.
Yeah.
Who do you want to see work in a Star Wars movie?
So for director, I was thinking like Brad Bird, but ultimately, like I think Joe Cornish, who did Attack the Block. I'd really want to see him do like a Star Wars film. So, I think, Attack the Block was one of the best. We haven't seen him do anything else. He did like the most interesting, like sci-fi film. I want to see, maybe he does like a Boba Fett film. That would like be my ideal thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nick?
I would kind of want to see, I don't know. See, that's the trouble though, is that are we going more towards directing? Or are we going more
anything you want to see in a Star Wars movie or working on one?
To be totally honest, I want to see more of what we saw in in Rogue One. I actually really want to see more of if we go further back where we tell more stories about like Vader hunting down Jedi or anything like that. That'd be really cool. We hear a lot about these things that like happened to Vader and like the fact why we should be afraid of Vader, but we never have seen it.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, Rogue One was like a little taste. And that I think was like super cool. But imagining seeing Vader taking out like Jedi and like hunting them down and like doing everything like that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Especially with like a legion of like bounty hunters and stuff like that. That would be really badass.
Okay, but who do you want to work on it?
Who would I want to work on it? For a movie like that, maybe Jeff Gary Gray.
Cool. Oh, okay. I was like Jeff.
F.
F. Gary Gray. Yeah, no,
Gary.
yeah. Straight to Compton.
Yeah.
Legit.
Cool.
Fate and Furious looks great.
I just want a super prequel. I want Jedis running around everywhere. I want to see, I don't know, what they do in their everyday life. And obviously there's some sort of conflict because it's a movie.
Honestly, Old Republic would be pretty dope.
Yeah, it's a game already, but,
No, but that you're right. You guys bring up an interesting point. Like, I want to see like Old Republic stuff.
Long time
prequels
ago.
to the prequels,
Yeah,
like an even longer time ago.
Well, not only that, but also if you do Old Republic, you're not standing to any lore.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
You can. You're
Well,
kind of
we know the crystals.
Kyber crystals, yeah, you have those. But I mean, you can do like the battery packs for like the lightsabers and stuff like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you could do anything. So it'd be like, oh, how'd all this stuff happen? No one knew. Oh, it's actually a million years before A New Hope. Like it doesn't. It's fiction. You can do whatever you want. You know?
You can do whatever the hell you want. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Diego?
Alfonso Cuarón, who's directed Gravity, Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban, Y Tu Mamá También. Like I think he's a genius. Oh, and Children of Men.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the greatest directors to have ever touched like a film.
Yeah.
So I would love to see him do a Star Wars movie. What he could bring to that would be like remarkable, I think.
Seen him with Harry Potter too.
Yeah.
Cool. Josh, Rob, any like one
I
person?
would like to see I would like to see as the Emperor Adam West.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Just to mix it up a bit.
All right.
Should be another Christmas special if they do that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'd like to see David Fincher go back to the Star Wars franchise. He first worked as an effects cameraman on Return of the Jedi when he was 18 years old.
Uh-huh.
I think he's one of the greatest directors working today, and I would love to see. I mean, it's called Star Wars, so we always have to see a movie that has conflict in it. But what if you did something like, a character study, like he made Fight Club?
Mm-hmm.
What if you did a Jedi Club where there's some guy who the Jedi has been wiped out, and he's a complete Jedi freak, and it's been years and years since anyone has seen the Jedi, and nobody knows if they're really alive or not, and maybe he goes a little nuts like Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, and he starts some kind of a faux Jedi fight club where he tries to recruit a band of new Jedis, a bunch of crazy people that study the Force, and it turns out that indeed, a la Travis Bickle and Taxi Driver, all these insane people that join his Jedi cult indeed wind up having to go on a mission. And as Jedi, as maybe people that are schizophrenics or people that are nuts, but they've been practicing becoming Jedi, that these crazy people like Travis Bickle goes and kills Harvey Keitel at the end of Taxi Driver. These crazy Jedi have to go on some crazy Jedi mission and actually do some good in the universe.
Yeah.
Even though they're all insane and nuts.
Like some sort of Suicide Squad?
So it's Fight Club meets Taxi Driver.
To be totally honest, actually, I think David Fincher would do an awesome job if you did a Obi-Wan movie. If you do like isolation, well, he's isolated and he's kind of like dealing with his own stuff, and he's watching this. He's watching the son of one of the Jedi's greatest murderers.
Well, I guess it would.
like that kind of fucks with you. Just knowing I have to teach this kid eventually how to be a Jedi.
Well, real quick, did you guys ever hear? I think he was one of the directors that was approached for one of the new Star Wars movies, and then he talked about how he sees it as a story of two slaves, C-3PO and R2-D2, that are handed off from generation to generation. Because
awesome.
Humanity keeps fucking up and going to war again and again and again.
It's just the adventures of those two in space. That's how I've seen it.
What if we had C-3PO and R2-D2 meet Abbott and Costello?
In space.
I'm down.
There you go.
First of all, I've got a question that I want to ask you guys.
Sure,
Go for
What's
it.
up?
A Rogue One question.
Okay.
We see R2 and 3PO in the Yavin base
Yeah.
as everyone's taking off, but they're not on the Tantive 4.
Yeah.
with Princess.
Well, technically they would be on. Yeah, they're supposed to be on with Tantive 4, and then the Tantive 4 is at the battle.
Well, here's the thing though. So
it's
when
kind of
they
confusing.
show everything, they're all running to their ships.
Yeah, so
and they're
they're-
kind of freaking out. So there's plenty of leeway to kind of go they're just getting all the ships together, and everybody's jumping into their ships that they then ran to the main ship, and that's where they
3PO go
were.
into battle. Why would you take a protocol droid into a battle?
I don't know why you would bring even.
40 years.
I mean, having
And I'll tell you another thing that really bothered me. I know this is just since we're talking Star Wars. It's like, why is the Tantive 4 it leaves the battle with the Star Destroyer in hot pursuit, and then in A New Hope, Vader steps on and goes, "If this is the counselor ship, where's the ambassador?"
Yeah,
It doesn't work. They would have seen a ship leave a battle zone. It came out of a much larger Republic cruiser. And when I watched the end, none of that worked for me. It just filled my head with questions. And I'm like, the whole point of Princess Leia being Princess Leia is that her father is a member of the rebellion,
Right.
but she's a member of the Imperial Senate. So she has plausible deniability of the rebellion.
That was something.
She's doing the rebellion's work within the Senate. So why would they send her to the Battle of Sharif?
Right.
Yeah, actually, I brought that up last night.
Attention to the geopolitics of the whole thing.
Well, because I remember bringing that up last night when we were talking about the same
Episode
thing.
4, and I'm like, it really doesn't at all. It
Yeah.
just brings up a lot of questions.
No, yeah, and I do think that's weird, because also why would Princess Leia be at the battle? I mean, in case that ship fell.
Yeah.
like that means that one of like Alderaan's like princesses was on the ship. That's like really incriminating, especially if she is trying to keep like her role in the rebellion kind of a secret. Because inside of Rebels, in Rebels and everything like that, she is trying to keep a secret, and she even is helping the Rebels out by assisting the Empire, and she's like telling the Empire what's going on and stuff like that. So I mean, that doesn't make sense. It's a little tiny like portion of information that doesn't make any sense. Because also, I don't know why you try to defend yourself to Darth Vader when he just saw this fucking ship leave. Like it's kind of like we're on a diplomatic mission. Bullshit. I just saw you.
I just saw you leave the exploding ship.
Like I was at the dock. Ask any of your men. Well, they're all dead now, but ask any of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to, if you ever see Gareth Edwards, have to ask him about that plot hole.
Yeah, I guess it's a small plot hole that leads into episode 4, in which all you really needed to do was just transmit them, and then Leia's ship would have been like off in the distance, like maybe watching the battle, and then taking off. But I mean, you
something
wouldn't
like that.
But you wouldn't have that badass like scene of like everything else, unless like they're at a console instead of like an actual like space, like a docking bay. If he was at a console and then like Darth Vader killed him as soon as he sent the transmission, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that was that's maybe they'll clear that up in another spin-off or something.
They're never gonna clear that up.
So cool. That leads us to we're gonna go back to pitch a movie. So guys, I want to hear this. Let's see. Want to hear your Star Wars spin-off?
Well, we got nothing.
I've got one. You want it to be a heist? You want it to be a heist movie?
Okay.
Here it is. It's a movie about how the banking guilds have been ripping everybody off on Coruscant and all the Outer Rim colonies. They've been stealing their money. They've been selling them bad loans, and it's all in service of getting the money to build the Death Star 2 around the moon of Endor.
The Empire bonds.
Bonds. So it's the Big Short, and it's all about how the entire banking industry, how the Emperor, just like John Hurt said in the movie Contact, why build one when you could build two at twice the price? Well, nobody knows how they got the money. I mean, the first Death Star was the largest construction project in the history of the universe. So the Emperor figured, why build one when you can build two at twice the price? And he had to employ people to siphon money to get in to build the project. The reason that the Death Star 2 wasn't finished is because the stalwart band of rebels steals the influx of cash that the Emperor needs to finish the Death Star 2, and that's why it remains unfinished in Return of the Jedi. It was the principal rebels were able to pull off a major heist where all this money was coming in from all of the Outer Rim colonies.
Rob has had a couple of cocktails, just so you know.
I think that's a good idea. It's the Big Short.
It's going to be about as easy to follow as the Big Short.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's definitely a different sort of Star Wars movie than we're used to seeing.
There you go. Yeah, and
I like the Bonds idea.
I said, she said a banking guild. I was like, oh, that's fucking genius. Yeah. Let's pull from the banking guild. Come on.
It's like in Dune, you've got the whole Landsrat Dune and everybody the different guilds. There's the Spice Guild. Well, there's the Banking Guild, and they're ripping everybody off. And the homesteaders, like, Owen Lars would be one of those guys. He would be one of the guys that he was having his farm. He was going to get foreclosed upon. That's why he couldn't let Luke go to the academy. Yeah. He was one of those guys.
Now you're just tying in everything. It works.
That's why Luke had to stay another season. Drinking Blue
milk.
Why
do you think Mos Eisley is such a shithole, but Mos Espa, where they run the Boon to Eve pod race, is so flush with cash? Right. It's because they've got the Hut money. They got the big Hut money to pay for those parties and pay for that racetrack. And
it's like Atlantic
rest
City.
Of Tatooine is if there's a bright spot it's from, because it's poor. It's been bankrupted. The homesteaders and farmers have lost their livelihood.
Yeah. Cool.
Our rebel band is going to save those poor people.
Yeah. A socially relevant Star Wars movie.
Yeah, by stealing all the money and giving it to the poor. I like it.
So guys, what do you think about
that?
Would you buy it?
I think that would be pretty dope. That would be a very interesting. It would be an interesting movie. It'd be a very interesting movie. Yeah. I can say that. I'm not sure if it would be a good movie. I just think it'd be an interesting movie, though.
Come on, man! It's the Grapes of Wrath meets The Big Short.
Also, don't forget, directed by Michael Bay.
Michael Bay.
Oh man, there'd be a lot of explosions.
There'd be a lot of close-up telephoto lenses with people standing like on a
lot of slow-mo.
Parallel plane. You know,
a lot of slow-mo
as the camera pans around.
But it'd be Michael Bay in pain and gain mode, telling a character-based story.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay
I like
with
that. I like that Michael Bay, or like Armageddon Michael Bay, or no, not Armageddon Michael
Hey,
Bay.
fuck you! Armageddon Michael Bay is awesome.
Hey,
Rock,
I like 13 Hours. Still surprised about that one, admittedly.
But yeah, I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
I do.
So you would greenlight this?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would change is I would change it from to like the rebels hired a bunch of bounty hunters. I think that'd be kind of tight.
Yeah.
You greenlight this movie, you will lose your job. I guarantee you.
Come on, man. You know what? We're gonna get Steve Zalian and Aaron Sorkin to write it. I'm telling you, it's gonna be Academy Award.
Yeah.
No, that's why. If anything, we just get Dave Filoni to write it.
There you go.
That's
Rebels.
anything Dave Filoni writes is amazing.
Okay,
it's
so
fine.
you definitely lost your job.
And I probably
Not
got
that he's not talented, just
and I probably got Dave Filoni fired.
I would buy it, like, I
like
like
I said, two executives just lost their jobs.
I like The Big Short. Like, I'll take risks. I'll put my job on the line.
This is like Guardians of the Galaxy with money.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
I think
what?
I'd rather see.
It's a gamble.
I think I'd rather see Star Wars meets Apocalypse Now.
That would be tight.
Okay.
Have some kind of up the river movie where where you have to have some kind of Brando-esque character at the very end who ends up being some lost Jedi master who's gonna bring back the Jedi. I think I prefer something like that, because Star Wars almost is an apocalypse now. The Falcon is like the PT Cruiser, just picking up characters as it goes along, engaging in battle. So I go with that.
Cool.
Let's have a deformed Mace Windu and horror motherfuckers.
He could have survived.
Yeah.
So, Diego, you're the last.
Yeah, no, it sounds ridiculous, so I would totally watch it. I don't know if I would greenlight it, but I would totally watch it.
You know what? I want to greenlight it just to see if you can do it.
So that's a no, dude.
Yeah, I want to keep my job.
All right.
The only thing is that, because what I thought they were gonna go for was, I thought stealing younglings from the Jedi Temple would be pretty dope.
Yeah.
And like sending them over to the Emperor, like they're actually like going into the Jedi Temple, stealing younglings, and and giving them to the Emperor to turn into Inquisitors.
But
or
wait,
into, like,
there wouldn't
Darth
be the
Users.
Emperor.
Huh?
Wouldn't
Or it would just be Palpatine at that point, but with Darth Sidious, because you can do it during what was it? Because you can do it during the Clone Wars.
Well, he was the Emperor by the end of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Oh, what I was
He
talking
didn't,
about was let's go way back.
Oh, okay,
okay,
yeah, that, yeah.
So, well, you got 2 out of 3 votes, so majority rules. So,
How about? I got one.
Yeah.
How about the rebels and the Empire? They end the war by saying, "Let's just take a vote," and the rebels think they're going to win the vote because everybody likes rebels, and then it turns out at the end that everyone votes for the Empire.
that's that kind of sounds something that happened in real life.
Why don't we?
No.
You can do it kind of like House of Cards, where you see Leia Organa and she's whipping the votes.
Yeah.
That one directed by David Fincher.
That'd be tight.
Cool. But
And we can have Trump play the Emperor. Or Jabba the Hutt.
He's not playing.
Or Jabba the Hutt.
He's not playing.
Jabba the Hutt becomes Secretary of State.
He's acted before, so it wouldn't be that much of a stretch.
Home Alone 3.
Home Alone, yeah,
Oh,
2.
Home Alone 2.
Yeah, he was in
Home Alone 2, my bad.
It doesn't even matter.
He was in a Home Alone movie.
Well, I would see that.
He was in Zoolander too.
Yeah.
Was he in Zoolander?
Yeah,
Original
oh my god.
Zoolander.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
so guys, we're a little pressed for time right now. We had one more activity planned, but we're just gonna have to nix that. We're gonna just go straight into just Rogue One spoiler talk. So, guys, let's have at it.
Hey, really quick,
Yeah.
was it just me, or did the soundtrack for Rogue One kind of sound like 2009 Star Trek?
You want to know why that was?
It was
I know,
the same
because
composer.
I know it's the same guy, but it really sounded like it.
Michael
like
Giacchino.
Yeah, like a lot of parts. I was like, this would fit in a Star Trek movie. not Star
Real quick,
Wars.
this is full on spoilers now.
Yeah,
like Gene said. Specifically, the part where Jin is fixing up the radio tower. I was
Yes.
like, wow, this is just Star Trek.
It's the Star Trek soundtrack.
In a good way.
Yeah.
It's a great soundtrack.
It's a good soundtrack, but I felt like I was watching a Star Trek movie, and I was like,
then other instances, though, it was very distinctly Star Warsy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it hopped back and forth for sure. Michael Giacchino accomplished this in 4 weeks.
I'm not hating on him.
Yeah, no. It's like some of this stuff you almost have to like not grade in the curve, but be like understanding. Almost, you know.
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's up?
I really want to know. My big complaint about the movie is how do Ponda Baba and Dr. Evazan go from Jeddah to the bar in Tatooine where Ponda Baba gets his arm cut off by Ben Kenobi?
Well, see, here's the thing, though. So we were talking about that
What's
last
up
night.
with that? Why does Walrus Man make that journey? How does he get
what ends up
his-
happening is that they actually.
It's his twin brother.
Well, no.
if you
So
think about it, Ponda Baba they're going to beat the Tantive 4 to Tatooine, and then they're going to be on, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing: they were drinking their sorrows away. See,
because they just watched Jeddah explode, they needed to hit a bar, so they know that the closest bar is on Tatooine.
No, but in a deleted scene, they have a Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs inspired escape sequence where they're hopping from debris field to debris field, just screaming their heads off, landing in a spaceship and barely getting away. So when they're in that bar in Tatooine, it's actually quite tragic because they've just witnessed the desolation of an entire planet. The planet wasn't destroyed, but that thing's basically uninhabitable now,
They just
right?
watched Jeddah explode.
Yeah.
Well, that could be. I mean, Tatooine has to be pretty close to at least Sharif because, it gets there pretty quick. Like, why exactly? I mean, they're going out of their way. They're going to see Ben Kenobi before they give the plans to the rebels.
Yeah.
You would imagine that Tatooine would be on the
My
way.
complaint is that it isn't. It almost. My complaint is that it barely qualifies as a Star Wars movie because it's got all the characters, and in what I did love about it was that it was almost like a period piece, Star Wars period piece with the same sets, same costumes, Falcon, and it's not a complete Star Wars movie for me unless you find some way to get at least one.
One what?
Falcon it's
Yeah, but it happened the same time Han Solo was dumping his last shipment of spice for that pissed off.
well, then
Jabba
let's
the
see
Hutt.
it. Let's see it. Let's see
know,
that dumping of the shipment.
No.
I think that would have been a little too much.
Yeah, no, especially which I think that would have been. It would have been interesting, especially if like you would have seen them catching up to Han Solo, thinking that he had the plans or anything like that. Like he was in a.
No, I don't see that either because he's
like, if
totally
he was-
unrelated to the rebellion.
No, like if he was like in a restricted area, pretty much, and like because they're on high alert because the plans just got stolen. That's the reason why he had.
I still don't want to see Han Solo in this.
I didn't want to see Han Solo either. I think if you put him in there,
We could have
it's
had just
jarring.
one shot of the Millennium Falcon heading to Tatooine, and everybody knows what that means. They could have got.
Yeah, but Han Solo doesn't exist in the Star Wars universe until they find him on Mos Eisley. He can't. I mean, we're going to get an early Han
Yeah, we're
Solo
gonna get it.
story, but in terms of the Skywalker saga, he doesn't enter that saga until, of course,
There you go.
they find him on Mos Eisley.
I
or
think
at Mos Eisley.
I think if anything, you should have the Han Solo movie end with him landing on Mos Eisley or on the way or.
No, see, I don't want the
Couple of months
standalones
later.
to be doing that too. Like, oh, look at how all of these movies tie directly into New Hope. Isn't that cool? It's good for this one, I think.
Well, because this one makes sense.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I want to see. I mean, I don't want to see a Han Solo movie, and then I look at the cast and the directors. I'm like, oh, okay, well now it's going to be great. Obviously, I want it to just be a standalone, own thing. I don't want it to tie into. I want it to be itself. You can have fun, cute references. Just let it be its own thing.
That's
let
true.
Lord and Miller make a weird, funny, goofy space adventure movie.
Yeah.
I do want to see Chewie finally rip somebody's arm off. Though.
No, I don't care about that either.
I want him to rip somebody's arm off. They deleted it out of Force Awakens. I want to see it. God damn it.
Well, I'll say something else that kind of bummed me out about the movie a little bit is that one of the things that if you watch, there's a William Friedkin movie. William Friedkin directed The Exorcist. He made a film that came out the same day actually as Star Wars called Sorcerer.
Oh, okay.
And in the movie, Sorcerer is a remake of a French filmmaker, Henri Clouzot's movie, The Wages of Fear. And basically it's about these guys that go on a suicide mission of these four disparate dudes that desperately need this money. And they're from all over the world. And the movie opens and you get a snippet of each one of these guys' lives before they end up going to South America to pull this job.
Mm-hmm.
And I really would like to have seen sequences that showed our characters, small sequences, but just to give us a taste of who these guys all were.
Like intros
Before,
for them.
when we meet Jared Imwe, and his buddy, they're just they're just hanging out on the city streets of Jeddah.
Yeah.
And they just you don't ever know who they are before we meet them. And in a lot of men on mission movies, they do that. They'll give you a little bit of a taste, like just a quick sequence. Even Jin, you see her as a little girl, and then she's chained up inside an Imperial troop transporter, or prisoner transport. I would love to have seen one brief scene with her and Saw Gerrera as a teenager, when she's a teenager working with Saw, so you get a sense of what she's been doing.
Yeah.
Because as it stands now, you just, for all of these guys, you just take it for granted who they are. And you don't have enough. I mean, even in Star Wars, when you see Luke, you see that he's a moisture, a little bit of a pilot. He's bored to tears. He can't stand doing this job. You understand who he is. So when he gets swept up into this cause, when Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen are slaughtered by stormtroopers, it makes sense that he does what he does. Whereas in Rogue One, you really don't get a sense of who anybody is.
Yeah.
And I missed that.
Yeah, that is
Like
that's
Even
for
Han
sure.
Solo, when they meet Han Solo, he's all
Shoots
full of
first.
braggadocio. He shoots first. He
Yeah.
does, but he says, "What do you mean you haven't heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs."
Exactly my
Right.
point. We should have heard about this movie.
Yeah.
Back to
Well, I mean, to as a counterpoint, I think we get enough of an understanding for these guys. Like a friend of ours last night made a good point, or a good reference point to Ocean's 11. Like, you don't understand their entire backstory, but you understand why they're doing what they're doing.
And
Obviously,
you understand-
Ocean's 11's for money. Here, it's for building hope in the galaxy. Because Rogue One's pretty bleak.
But even if you use that, and that's a great, Ocean's 11 is a great example. You do see all of the characters in Ocean's 11 in their previous environment before they join up with Danny Ocean. You see Matt Damon in Chicago ripping off people in a train
Yeah,
car.
sure.
The
You get-
brilliance of Ocean's 11 is you get their backstory in 30 seconds because it's well written.
Absolutely. And you see the acrobat in the Chinese circus, and you see the two brothers in Utah when they're racing their radio-controlled car versus a real car. You see all of these people, and it's all woven into the story. Ocean's 11 is what I wanted Rogue One to be,
Yeah.
but more fatalistic and with a space battle at the end.
Now, if George Clooney was in Rogue One, that would have been a very different movie. That would have been
But even that, when you see Brad Pitt cold decking actors at the beginning of the movie, he's doing something unrelated to the heist that he's going to participate in, but you get a sense of who that dude is.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, you are right. And which I actually would have liked to have seen, especially like let's say Jin, where when she walks into Saw Gerrera's room and she first meets him, and she first like is reintroduced to him after a long time. If like it would have had like even like shadows of the past, where like she would have been looking in an area and she would have just been like, and you would have seen like a younger Jin being instructed by Saw, like hold your rifle like this or anything like that, like kind of like teaching, like kind of showing that he was a father figure to her and everything like that.
Yes,
Kind of,
indeed, absolutely.
and I think that would have been really interesting too, especially when you see Saw finally die at the very end. I mean, well, when Jeddah explodes, he dies. I'm assuming. Because
he's dead.
He's
There's
dead.
no way you could.
Yeah,
survive that.
but what was it? But that way you kind of felt more like there was a connection there, because like I was saying earlier, if you read Catalyst, they are him and her are friends. Like they really do enjoy each other's company and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that's something in which I kind of felt like they didn't get past. They just kind of said like, yeah, pretty much I took care of you for 16 years, and then I eventually like let you go because people.
You know what they
figuring
never
it out.
told us? They never told us why Jin is in jail in the beginning of the movie.
Oh, I don't think that's important though. I mean, she's
She's
you know,
like
she's just a troublemaker.
like a freedom, or she was like training under Saw Gerrera, and seemed like she was doing like criminal activity.
I actually think that she was still doing the same thing Saw was on different planets. Like she was like,
Oh no. I don't think she was at all. I mean, the whole
hiding.
point, her arc in the movie, which I do like, and I do think it could have used a little work as well, is that she doesn't care. Like she even tells Saw like the Imperial flag situation, it being everywhere. It doesn't matter because she doesn't look up. She doesn't see that far ahead. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about.
That's why I was wondering
helping
why
people.
she was in prison. I thought perhaps she was in prison because they were holding her hostage to get her father to keep working on the Death Star. but that turned out to not be the case.
No, yeah, because they even mentioned it too, saying that like she's using a fake name and everything like that.
She's probably just thieving around, you know?
Probably, or she was like just trying to survive or forging. It sounds like she was forging imperial documents to get through like
That wasn't like the
blockades.
first trailer, right? Before the reshoots.
I have a little bit of weird story that's it's actually canon-ish. It's a Battlefront X-Wing VR mission.
Okay. Go ahead.
You actually that mission is you're in an X-Wing, you're part of like some little tiny rebel placement, and you have to go save this U-Wing that's making some sort of transport. And I forgot where they picked her up from, but they mention it. It's in the mission. They don't mention her name, but they say, "Oh, we have a very special passenger from whatever planet," and they're like, "Oh, over there, you just got criminals and lowlifes or something like that." So it's just, oh, she's just some criminal who's just always getting into trouble, and so obviously you end up saving her because the mission is just escort the U-Wing from wherever the hell they picked her up from that transport to her joining the rebels. So
Yeah, but what was it? Well, the thing is that they even mentioned it too. Is that like, oh yeah, we know that you're Jitter, so the Empire didn't know that.
yeah, exactly.
They even mentioned it in the movie. And the one thing is that I did kind of wish that they would have gone further into depth with her mom, because her mom is actually force sensitive and stuff like that. Like she can sense the force and she can sense like the living force.
Right. But
See, like that, I'm okay with them not divulging into, because where would that have like fit into the movie that they're telling you now?
That was
the
my
story.
thing. Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's really cool backstory, and I want to read this book now.
Yeah,
But for the movie itself,
Catalyst is really good.
you read it?
It's a awesome book.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it tells you a lot about these characters and like where they're at, and especially how exactly Krennic got involved with these people and how like Jen got fooled and like how he thought he was doing things. Galen, my bad. Galen was doing things for the greater good, and he really did think that he was just making affordable energy for everybody, and Krennic was just a dick. And also, you get a bigger portion of like Krennic and Tarkin's arguments. The reason why the Death Star didn't get built for fucking 20 years. because they kept on delaying each other.
You get enough of that in the movie itself too. Because here's the disagreement I have with the character stuff too. And feel free to bounce back at this at all. Is that you get enough of what you need for the movie to tell its story. You don't know everything about them, and I'm not saying that you definitely couldn't use some more information on everything that happens in the movie and the characters, but you know enough going forward that you can develop some form of attachment to the grand spectacle of things. Because Gareth Edwards is a fantastic visual filmmaker, and he's a really good storyteller through his visuals.
No, yeah, he is.
And I do think sometimes his characters need a little work. But here, I think, because they all make up the rogues, as Gene coined that phrase when we first watched it, they make up smaller parts of a larger whole. And together, from everyone from Diego Luna to Officer Krennic, I think it's a really solid cast of characters. Maybe not instantly iconic. Definitely no Han Solos in here, although I'm a big fan of K2SO and Cassian.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think they are more than functional. I think they're quite good. And given the route that the story takes, is that they're very minor parts in the overall Galaxy story, but they're maybe the most essential part in the story. They're not anybody special. They're not Force users. They're just people trying to do good.
The one thing I did like also from this movie is
I would agree with you to a certain extent, but the movie would have been a better, more resonant film that you would have felt. I think the real problem with the movie is that the first half of the film is very distancing. You don't get those little character bits, so you're not as invested in anybody as you should be. And it isn't until the second half of the film that you really are invested when it literally and figuratively starts to take off. Whereas like K2SO was an Imperial droid that was reprogrammed. That's a big deal. I would love to have seen the moment where K2SO became one of the rebellion. As in one of those Ocean's 11 flashback scenes. There could have been a great, quick little bit where he relates that story to Jen. He goes, well, I used to be that guy, but I became this guy when this happened. And you could have, then you would have been like, oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Because that's what makes a movie like Ocean's 11 so interesting, is that it's woven into the plot who these people are, and it becomes fun And when you meet like Scott Conn and Casey Affleck in Ocean's 11, and you see what goofy competitive brothers they are, simply because you've seen that one little scene where one of them is racing the other with a radio-controlled replica of his own real truck. And that lasts for seconds, but it tells you everything you need to know about those two characters. And it works for the rest of the movie.
It does. Yeah. I think I think it would have been a lot easier that in a lot of things that could have been explained if there was a crawl. Honestly, I think a crawl could have explained a lot of stuff very quickly in about 3 paragraphs and just told you this is what's going on. This is who Galen Erso is. This is who Krennic is. This is who everybody else is. And this is what's going. And this is what the situation is. And this is the mission we're going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think maybe more exposition, but I don't know about a crawl. Like, because the crawl, I think, is the opening crawl is just for the Skywalkers, though. I mean, that's how they defended it.
That's how they defend it and everything else. But I think that you can also make a case to saying that it's a Star Wars movie. It goes with Star Wars movies, and not only that, but also the crawl is perfect just because it tells you what you're jumping straight into. When you read the crawl, you know exactly what the situation is. You know exactly you don't exactly know the characters that you're going to be dealing with immediately, but you know what's going on and how everybody is feeling. You know that.
I totally agree with you. The word Star Wars should come right after a long time in the galaxy far, far away. Mm-hmm. You've got to have the symphonic hit, and then you have to see the word Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
suddenly having the word Star Wars come in almost 6 or 7 minutes into the movie definitely took me out of the movie for that moment. I didn't want to go back to that card. I wanted to keep moving with the plot.
Yeah.
And the other problem I had with the movie was in the first 25 minutes, you were introduced to a whole bunch of new planets and then the new cities within each planet. And I was having, and so my kids were having real difficulty keeping up with the names of people. And that made the first act very confusing for me.
Actually, yeah, I was saying that when you kind of go over the names, mm-hmm. I loved the movie. Yeah. I don't remember everybody's name that was on the team.
Imperial Pilot.
Like their job.
Yeah,
I know Donnie Yen. I know Donnie Yen. I don't know Donnie Yen's character. I don't know his character name because, like, in the very
there's a lot of characters.
Well, not only that, but also they're hardcore made up names. Whereas, like Luke Skywalker, those are just 2 words that we already know and they're put together. And everything like that. Han Solo, another 2 words that we already know. Fucking Maze something. Like, they were really made up names, and they only said the names a couple of times. Like, they didn't, like, go into depth on, like, this person is this person and stuff like that. So, I mean, that was like, another thing I had a problem with. But besides that, I mean, the movie was awesome.
Couldn't complain too much.
Yeah. I mean, we got to start winding down the show a little bit right now.
So many Easter eggs, though.
But I also want to just... across the board, I think we all feel pretty good about the third act. Like,
that was like
as a whole. I mean, you guys mentioned that maybe the last couple minutes left you with more questions than satisfaction. But like, I really like Gareth Edwards. I know Gene and I very much disagree on his Godzilla movie.
I like parts.
But
of
I think, man, this guy, what he brought to Star Wars, especially like in terms of the battles. Not in space, on land, in the air, just like all over the place. He really nailed that.
I think he also really nailed that Darth Vader, that final Darth Vader scene going down the hallway.
The stuff of nightmares.
It felt like a horror film.
Yeah.
It honestly did. It felt like he was.
That was cool.
Like he was Jason Voorhees just walking down. I don't think
we've ever seen like Vader, full blown Vader, in the costume, like just unleashed like that.
Outside of the comics, no.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, comics.
I mean, in the comics, there's an entire scene where in Vader Down, where where rebels have surrounded him and he's in a crashed TIE fighter, and they just basically tell him like, surrender or else you're gonna die, and he goes, I'm not gonna surrender. You guys are all gonna die, and like he just starts murdering a bunch of rebels. It's really fucked up. So, yeah, I think the movie is really good.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, even if we all hated it, it's Star Wars, so it's going to make $1 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a lot one day for a Star Wars movie to not make $1 billion? Because this totally is going to make that.
I was actually really happy that there was a lot of Rebel stuff that was inside of the movie. Like I was
from the
really
show?
happy about that. Huh?
From the TV show?
From the TV show,
Yeah,
because Chopper's inside of in the base.
You see him in the background.
You see him in the background, and also they mention General Sandula, Captain
and
Sandula.
I was going to say, you see the ghost.
And you see the ghost like 8 times.
I should totally catch up on this
And
show.
the Hammerhead Corvette, but those are in Clone Wars,
What's that?
right? The Hammerhead Corvette.
Yeah, those
that's
were
right.
they were in Clone Wars,
Right.
yeah. Which they used it inside the anime, inside the cartoon. That was like the really cool payoff for me is that I've been keeping up. I kept up with Clone Wars, Rebels, and also the novels. So it was kind of like really good payoffs that were kind of like, okay, cool, like nice little additions. It doesn't hurt if you don't know what they are, but it really is cool when you know what it is.
Cool. On that note, we're going to end the show right now. Rob, Josh, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at BurnettRM or on Instagram at RM Burnett, on Facebook at Robert Meyer Burnett, and watch me on Collider Heroes every Tuesday.
Cool.
And you can just find me on Facebook. My Twitter handle also is AM Time Bomb.
Awesome.
You can find me on Facebook. Just type in Nick Valero. Also Nick Valero at 1940 for Twitter.
You can play with me on PlayStation, the Rinsler. I don't keep up with any of my other
That
social
sounds
stuff.
inappropriate.
Damn it, Kirk. Renee, sound engineer Renee, where can people find you?
They can find me at Instagram and Snapchat at Renee G. Bravo.
And
Gene.
you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, all around Gene9892.
All right, and Diego Waffles on Twitter, Waffle Press, Real Film Chatter, AudienceSEverywhere.net. Links down below in the YouTube description. Thank you so much for joining us, guys,
thank you.
thank you everyone listening.
Thanks a lot.
We've been professionally unprofessional.
Are you with me?